Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Ben sat across from Grace in their usual cozy Italian restaurant, where candlelight flickered warmly and soft music provided a serene background that had always soothed their busy lives. Tonight, however, the ambiance felt more oppressive than comforting. There was an undeniable tension in the air. Grace's restless fingers played with the edge of her napkin, and her eyes darted around the room as if avoiding something. Ben, after years of understanding her moods, knew something was wrong. Finally, Grace locked eyes with him. Her expression was hesitant yet charged with nervous energy. "I've been thinking," she began, her tone carefully measured but brimming with an unspoken thrill. "Maybe it's time we tried something different to bring back the spark." Ben blinked, momentarily thrown off. He forced a light chuckle to mask his unease. "Different? What do you mean, Grace?" Grace hesitated, then took a deep breath as though steeling herself. "What if we gave each other a free pass? Just one night, no strings, no judgment, a chance to explore something new?" Her words lingered in the space between them, heavy and disconcerting. Ben's mind raced to process the suggestion. "You mean you want to be with someone else?" he asked evenly, though his chest tightened at the implication. "Not forever," she replied, her tone casual, almost dismissive. "Just once, to see what it's like. Nothing serious." She laughed lightly, as if to soften the blow, but the flippancy only deepened the sting. Ben studied her carefully, searching her face for second thoughts or guilt. Instead, he saw a spark, one of eager anticipation that used to be reserved for him. The realization hit hard, but Ben kept his emotions in check. "If that's really what you want," he said softly, "we can talk about it more at home." The rest of the evening passed in awkward silence. Grace appeared relieved, as though introducing the idea was a victory in itself, but Ben's mind churned with thoughts far darker than hers. By the time they returned home, he had started formulating a plan. That night, as Grace slept soundly beside him, Ben lay awake staring at the ceiling. Her suggestion played on a loop in his mind, each replay a fresh wound. Years of devotion, trust, and sacrifice felt trivialized by her casual proposal. Finally, unable to bear his thoughts alone, he reached for his phone and messaged Rick, his closest friend. Minutes later, Rick called. "Ben, what's going on? You sound off?" Ben recounted the evening's events, his voice heavy with disbelief and pain. Rick paused before responding, his tone steady and firm. "Listen, Ben, this isn't about you. It's about her crossing a line. If you want to handle this calmly, I'll back you. Just make sure you're thinking clearly before making any moves." Ben nodded silently, taking Rick's advice to heart. "I'll give her what she wants," he said after a moment, "but it'll be on my terms." In the days that followed, Grace seemed lighter, her demeanor almost buoyant. She likely interpreted Ben's calm reaction as tacit approval, even excitement. She became more affectionate, though Ben could see it was laced with her own anticipation. She imagined freedom on the horizon, but Ben's mind was occupied with preparation. Behind her carefree facade, he sensed a thrill she didn't bother hiding. One evening, Ben casually broached the topic. "So," he said, his voice neutral, "any thoughts on who you'd use your pass on?" Grace's eyes widened briefly before she recovered, laughing nervously. "No, no one in particular. I just thought it could be fun for us. Don't you ever feel bored?" Ben swallowed the surge of anger rising within him. "Bored? Not really. But I understand if that's how you feel," he replied smoothly, masking his true emotions. While Grace believed things were falling into place, Ben was laying the groundwork for his next steps. He met discreetly with a lawyer, safeguarding his finances and drafting preliminary separation documents. Important personal items were moved to Rick's house under the guise of decluttering. Every move was strategic, designed to ensure he wouldn't be blindsided if this experiment unraveled their marriage. When Grace announced the night she planned to use her pass, Ben acted indifferent. "Have fun," he said with a calmness that belied the storm brewing inside him. He watched as she left, dressed to perfection, her excitement unmistakable. Once the door closed behind her, Ben felt his resolve harden. Her choice was made, and he would not let it shatter him without consequence. As the evening stretched on, Ben prepared himself for the inevitable fallout. If Grace thought her actions would pass without repercussions, she was mistaken. He would let her pursue whatever fleeting thrill she sought. But he was determined to protect himself and the life he had worked to build. Whatever came next, Ben would face it with clarity and strength, ready to reclaim control of his future. He clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles whitened, channeling every ounce of strength to keep his emotions in check. "Have a great time, Grace," he said, his voice measured and devoid of the storm brewing within, as she stepped through the door. Alone in the quiet of their home, Ben poured himself a drink, his gaze wandering over the once-cherished space. Every object, every photograph spoke of a bond he had held sacred, a bond now tainted by betrayal. The memories, once warm and comforting, felt like shards of glass, sharp and painful. His eyes darted to the clock, its hands crawling as if mocking his torment. The visions of what she might be doing and with whom clawed at his mind. The agony was suffocating, but Ben steeled himself, determined to endure, to find strength in the suffering. As the hours dragged on, the night stretched endlessly. Just before dawn, Grace returned. Her makeup was smeared, her hair unkempt, her expression a blend of smug satisfaction and uneasy guilt. Ben greeted her with an unnerving calm, his anguish buried beneath a mask of indifference. The surprise in her eyes was unmistakable. She had anticipated an explosion of jealousy or rage. Instead, he spoke with quiet finality. "I hope it gave you what you were searching for, Grace. I hope it was worth it." His words hung heavy in the air, unanswered, as she slipped into silence. The next morning, over a strained coffee, Ben broke the quiet. "Did you enjoy your little free pass, Grace?" His tone was deceptively light, a contrast to the storm behind his eyes. She dismissed his question with a flippant laugh. "Ben, it was a one-time thing. Don't make this a big deal. We're still us, aren't we?" His expression hardened, the veneer of composure beginning to crack. "Are we?" he asked, his voice tinged with the weight of years of unspoken sacrifices. Rising, he allowed his anger to surface. "Do you have any idea what I've given up for us, Grace? How much I've invested in the life we built together, and you threw it all aside for freedom?" Just like that? Her stunned silence did nothing to halt his words. "You wanted space? Fine. Enjoy it, because now I will too." In the days that followed, Ben withdrew into a chilling silence. He became a shadow in their home, his distance calculated and deliberate. Behind the scenes, he prepared meticulously, sorting finances, arranging documents, and finding clarity amid the chaos. When he was ready, he invited Grace to dinner at the Italian restaurant where she had first broached the idea of her free pass. As they sat down, Ben slid a folded document across the table. "This is for you," he said, his voice calm but edged with finality. "Consider it my answer to your quest for freedom." Grace unfolded the paper, her face blanching as she read the separation agreement. Her voice faltered. "Ben, this isn't what I wanted. I just wanted to spice things up. I still love you." His gaze remained cold and unyielding. "Love and loyalty aren't optional, Grace. They're not something you can suspend for convenience. You wanted freedom, and I'm granting it. This is your last free pass from me." Without another word, Ben stood and walked away, leaving her alone at the table, clutching the document with trembling hands. For the first time in months, he felt a sense of relief. The pain lingered, but it was accompanied by the certainty that he was ready to move forward. Yet this was only the beginning of his reckoning. In the weeks that followed, Grace's attempts to reconcile were relentless. Tear-streaked voicemails, endless texts, desperate pleas to explain that her night of freedom had been harmless. Ben listened to her words without responding, his silence a mirror reflecting the emptiness she had created. Every overture was met with the same stoic indifference. Eventually, Ben packed his things and moved out, taking up temporary residence at his friend Rick's apartment. For Grace, his absence was a crushing blow. Alone in the home they had shared, she spiraled into regret, clinging desperately to the fragments of a relationship she had shattered. Meanwhile, Ben worked quietly, methodically toward the next stage of his plan. Regret, he decided, wasn't enough. She needed to understand the depth of her betrayal, to feel the sting of the pain she had inflicted. One evening, while discussing his intentions with Rick, his friend voiced his concern. "Are you sure about this, Ben? Is this really the path you want to take?" Ben's reply was firm, his conviction unshaken. She treated my trust like it was disposable. She needs to know what it feels like to be cast aside, to have her loyalty questioned, and her worth diminished. She has to feel what she did to me. Rick hesitated but nodded, recognizing the unwavering determination in Ben's tone. The course was set. I'm here for you, no matter what. Those were Ben's final words before setting his plan into motion the very next day. Knowing Grace's circle well, he pinpointed exactly which friends thrived on juicy tidbits and how to ensure the story would find its way back to her. He casually engaged with mutual acquaintances, dropping subtle remarks about moving forward and finding someone who valued loyalty as much as he did. His words, laced with just the right amount of intrigue, spread like wildfire. Before long, Grace caught wind of the whispers. Her mind spiraled with a storm of jealousy, curiosity, and dread, forcing her to confront the idea that Ben might truly be moving on. That evening, Ben came home to find his phone inundated with messages from Grace, each one more frantic than the last. Ben, we need to talk. If you're seeing someone, I have to know. I still love you. I made a mistake, but we can fix this. Please, call me. Ben read every word but remained silent, letting her stew in the uncertainty of her own creation. Then, he executed the final piece of his plan, a deliberate and poignant post on social media. He expressed gratitude for a fresh start, implying he had found someone who shared his values of trust and commitment. The message was clear and intentional, leaving no room for doubt. Grace's response was immediate. She bombarded him with calls, her voice trembling in desperation in the voicemails she left. Hours later, Ben finally picked up the phone. Ben, is it true? Are you really with someone else? She asked, her voice breaking. Why does it matter to you? He replied evenly. You were the one who wanted freedom, remember? That's not what I meant, she cried, her panic rising. I thought we could still have us. I made a mistake, Ben. Please, I see that now. Just come back to me. After a long silence, Ben's voice came through steady but unyielding. No, Grace. This was your choice. I offered you my loyalty and commitment, but you threw it away. Now, you'll have to live with that decision. Over the following weeks, Ben methodically began dismantling the life they had built together. He contacted a real estate agent to sell their home, each step symbolizing his journey toward healing. For Grace, however, every move was a painful reminder of what she had lost. Finally, Ben agreed to meet her one last time, selecting the Italian restaurant where she had first suggested the free pass. This time there was no warmth, no shared fondness, just the cold remnants of a shattered relationship. Grace arrived looking frail, her face marked by sleepless nights. She sat across from Ben, her hands trembling as she avoided his gaze. Ben, she began softly, her voice strained. I know I hurt you. I thought freedom would make me feel alive again, that I could come back like nothing had changed. But I was wrong. I lost sight of what we had, and now I know I'll never find it again. Ben remained silent, his expression unreadable as he listened. The regret in her voice was unmistakable, but it wasn't enough to undo the damage. Grace, he finally said, his tone calm yet firm. You didn't just ask for a night off when you wanted that free pass. You shattered the foundation of everything we built together. You traded our life for a fleeting moment, something you valued more than us. Over these weeks, I let you experience the silence of your choices. Now, I'm done. Tears streamed down Grace's face as she reached across the table, grasping for his hand. Please, Ben, don't do this. I'll do anything to make it right. Just give me one more chance. Ben shook his head, unwavering. You had your chance, Grace. You wanted a free pass, and now you have it. A free pass to move on without me. With that, he stood and walked away, leaving her alone in the restaurant, the weight of her choices crushing down on her. As Ben stepped into the crisp night air, a mix of relief and melancholy washed over him. He had given Grace every opportunity to honor his trust, but she had made her choice. Now, he was making his. For the first time since the devastating night that fractured their relationship, Ben felt whole again. He had emerged stronger, with a newfound sense of self-respect and a clearer vision for his future. As he walked away, the burden of betrayal was replaced by a liberating sense of freedom and hope for what lay ahead. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.